Hey everybody, Texas Trucker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. The Sunday Fun Day here in the shop. Let's take a look at some stuff from Tecton because we had some reward dollars expiring. And we're going to move into some stuff that was here earlier from DRPD. Now, DRPD, what do we usually bring in from them? Koken. And if you think, well, yeah, that should be obvious, buddy. This is not something that we brought in from them. This is the Zeal Sockets. These are the super stubbies, if you will, metric, of course, because they currently don't offer them in SAE, although I have asked, and they said they were pestering them. So, I got a small crisis on that text message. I might have to randomly exit this video, but where we left off in Koken Land, DRPD, and a crossover was with this. While these are the Zeal Stubbies, these are also special in that they are the surface drive, also currently available metric only. And you think, hey, I don't see the Koken logo on either end. That's because there's a lot of real estate there, okay? That's because this is not a rail we purchased from Koken. This came from Harbor Freight. It's a U.S. General. And they are essentially the same rail minus the beautiful Koken logo there. So I showcased that in a standalone video. This little thing here off to the side, this Olsa anodized aluminum rail, which is, I'm used to Ernst stuff. And, you can't pick that up by the sockets. Oh no, it'll come crashing down on you. But that, and then the Astro nano sockets, which again is basically that same Olsa rail we showed you. These pegs interchange, and why that's important is, let's say that you have this stubby set but you wanted to add a socket, or in the surface drive it was really important that you had two 13s or two 17s or something for something you're doing, or maybe they skipped a size and you got to add it. Koken has pegs available, okay? So right here, this is direct from Koken. These are going to be, let's see if I can track them down here, very reasonable. I'm not even going to give you the part number because it would just slow this down. It's very long. But $2.35 per pack, and each pack is going to contain 5 pegs. So what I did, I've got quarter, I've got 3/8, and I've got 1/2 inch because I didn't know, like, hey, what am I going to wind up doing on these rails? What will I want to add? This is probably the only sets that I'll bring in for now until we decide if we're going to do more with these rails, cut them down, so on and so forth. But just to kind of highlight this for you, if I crack one of these open, it's I won't spend a ton of time because, again, if you missed that standalone video, I showcase how these all interchange. They've got this exact same structure. They all have that patented stamping right underneath the ball detents. And if we were to pry this off, which this is the side that I've done that, this sucker slides right on. Same thing. The reason I grabbed the Olsa rail is just so you could kind of see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna rip this rubber boot off because, again, this is by far the easiest thing for me to work with. This is our Koken one. It's kind of awkward. I'm gonna tilt it up here where I can see. Oh boy, it would be much easier without a ton of heavy sockets on the back end and a tripod in front of me. But I got it on there, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this 10mm 1/2 inch drive, and we're going to swap it. Boom. Proof of concept. Like I said, there is an entire standalone video on this subject, but if you're like, well, that's cool, the Harbor Freight one, it's a nice option, really like that style, whatever. But man, they just don't give enough pegs. I totally agree with you. They do not give enough pegs, but I'll tell you this. Through Koken, that's your source to pick them up for $2.35 for a 5-pack. So, I'm kind of wondering if I need to stop recording and go take care of something real quick. I think I may. Sorry if this was kind of flustered, but I'll be right back. Alright, my apologies there. I had to tend to some stuff outside. But back to this. $2.35 from Koken. You get 5 pieces of each size. So if you're building out, say, 1/4 inch nut grips or something, and you like this Koken style rail, or you've got a Harbor Freight rail that you're using for something entirely different, and you just simply have no clue where to source the pegs, go to town, get them through DRPD, get them through Koken. That's honestly the only way I know. Olsa may sell them, but at $2.35 for 5, that's probably the best bang for your buck from DRPD. So like I said, Harbor Freight sells way too few pegs for these 18-inch mag rails, and if you agree with that, or if you just want to add on, whatever it might be, this is a great source. So, coming in, we're obviously sticking with the Koken theme. We've got one of those wonderful little brown paper packages for you, so we're going to open her up, and I'm not exactly sure what this will be, but I think it'll be a slew of random sockets. So, I do that, and we got one more turn to make. Boom. We have a lot of stuff going on here, and these are fairly large sockets, you're probably saying to yourself, and I would agree, and there's good reason for that. So, if I can get anything to go right here today, we have 4 sockets. They're all going to be 3H drive. They're all SAE. They are all 6-point, and they were all pretty reasonable on the price. So I'm going to try to start here at the small size. We have a 13/16. It is going to set us back $755. We have a 7/8. I believe it's this one right here. It is going to set you back $790. We have a 15/16, should be the top corner there, for $830, and we've got a 1-inch for $1135. Now, when I purchased this stuff, it was part of a, like, this stuff wasn't the reason for the purchase, essentially. That's what I guess I'll leave it at for now, because we're going to make a standalone for what the reason was, but typically I hold out for sales. This is something that orange MTS prototype that they sent to us. The friction peg socket holder, if you recall, when you go through Koken in their standard sets, I think we get like 1/4 to 3/4. And then the problem is the MTS friction peg, you've got 13/16, 7/8, 15/16, and 1-inch before the tray is over. I just can't really leave well enough alone and have those 4 pegs staring back at me every time I open the drawer. It drives me crazy. And if you think, well, hey, you know, that's a 2-row tray, so you got the deeps, right? Currently, no. And that's because DRPD, at this point in time, they have added 12-point sockets, which is awesome. I don't know if that was like at my request or like tons of other people have the same sentiments as me. But the DRPD solo sockets, you can only get shallows at this point in time. So it's probably something they'll bring in at some point, or again, maybe if like enough people request it, they'll do it. It could just be like an inventory, or like, yeah, are we really going to sell many? Who knows what the logic is, but currently they just have the shallow sockets available standalone. Can't argue with that. It's their store. They can do what they want to. And we got a great deal on these. Hopefully, if they do get the deeps, we'll be able to pick them up on sale. But right now, that's something next time we place an order direct through Koken USA, we'll probably bring in. Why? Just because I can't look at 4 pegs staring me back every day now. Also, with the sockets would be used 7/8, 15/16. I know the 1-inch, we're going to have that K&N filter fan that comes in. Like, what do you mean you never use the 1-inch? It's for a K&N filter. And that is true. So there is some utility there. The 13/16 sometimes, just not as often. And at work, I would use 15/16 all the time. This doesn't work, so you know, it's not used quite as frequently. But they're beautiful little sockets. They maintain the same profiles as you're used to, sort of polished up top, satin on the bottom. They've got Koken, they've got the part number, and of course, if you dial it in right there, you can see the 7/8. So, in terms of the socket itself, business side here, you got a really nice opening. It's not going to round the corners off. And again, it is truly 3H drive. So, 1/4 to 3/4, there's really nothing wrong with that for even 3/8 to 3/4. Nothing wrong with that for like 3/8 deal, but it's mainly the tray. And I've had it, and it bothers me every time I open the drawer. And we're not going to endure it any longer, at least with the shallows. So here at the end of the video, we'll probably run you over there, get the satisfaction of seeing those placed. Now, there's something very difficult that's about to happen, and I don't know what I'm going to do because I have no clue where it is. It's apparently not here. I don't know if I I don't think I grabbed it. Like, I haven't gotten to do anything with this because I hadn't had time to be in the shop. There is a socket missing. It could be in the paper that I threw down a second ago, but I didn't hear it. I don't see anything. I don't see it glaringly staring up at me. I don't see it dumped on the table. And it would be very easy to run into this situation because, what is it, you ask? Well, It's almost as cheap as these socket pegs at $235. This thing costs $365. It's a 6-point quarter drive 4.5 millimeter. And you're thinking like, well, what do you need that for? Well, it's the friction peg trays, the little green ones, and I have no clue where that socket's at, so I don't know if I assume we got it. It's probably here somewhere, but we might not have gotten it, because I would have thought it would have been in that little paper roll, but let me grab it. Okay, it's definitely not in the paper roll, so no trickery there. I don't know. We'll try to find it. It's got to be here somewhere. Now, the good news is the main attraction here is something that even I couldn't screw up and lose. And that's because there's a lot of sockets here. It takes up a lot of real estate, and it's by far the most expensive thing we brought in on this haul. It is Koken's part number, RS. Oh, hey, you remember, railed set. That is correct. 3300M/12. Now, if you don't remember the middle stuff, you probably remember M for metric and /blank is going to be the number of pieces on the rail. And that tells you enough right there. Lowering it down for you. This is the Koken 3/8 drive 8 to 19 6-point socket set in deep. Why did I get this and not the shallow? The shallows were sold out, so that's literally why you're not seeing the combination here. Why am I doing this? Again, it's just I'm in that drawer so much. I've moved these off of the friction peg holder, and I've decided to go 6-point on the friction peg, keep the 12-point on the Ernst rails, so it's greater mobility. And this set right here is going to be the start of the back row. And what I like about it, what do we get for the 12 pieces? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, 18, 19. So what does that mean? It's 8 to 19 with 0 skips. Now, let's say you need to add on to that. You can do that. You can source these individually. Again, currently DRPD not offering them, but beautiful little socket set. The price point, in case I didn't tell you, I think I did, but maybe I didn't. $108.70. It sucked bringing these in without a sale price, but again, it's like, yeah, you know, they're in stock. Would they be in stock on the sale? I don't know. I'm thinking Memorial Day will be the sale, but hey, it's one of those things. You should see quite a bit of use, and 8 to 19 can't go wrong there. You're getting your bread and butter sizes. You got your 8, you got your 10, 13, 14, 17, 19, and of course we can transfer over a couple of those, so it's kind of a win across the board. So I think what we will do, next time we talk, we're going to be at the Master Tech. We're going to be throwing these sockets down in their final resting place. But before you see that, I'm going to make one last ditch attempt to find the 4.5 millimeter socket. And if I can, that's great. I don't know, like, if it didn't ship or if we've just truly lost it. Who knows? But anyway, I'm going to get this stuff to its final destination, and I will see you there. Alright, so I lied. I decided to do this over here. Why? Well, it just worked out that way. So, what we're going to do, make some space here. I had to shoot that thumbnail ahead of time. Otherwise, I would have had to undo everything we're about to do, which would have been stupid because it wastes time. Now, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but I'm pretty sure we can figure this out. 13/16, correct. 7/8, you bet. 15/16, looks like this one. And then 1 inch right here. So this is actually the second 1 inch. If anyone's scoring at home, we did the same thing with some SK sockets where we needed a 1 inch and I couldn't source one from them. So we got that on a blue friction peg holder. But that takes care of this one. Again, this is prototype stuff. That's why it's so special to me. That's why I insist on using it. 1/4 to 1 inch now in 6-point shallow is totally complete by way of Koken. And of course, obviously, the glaring weakness back there is going to be our deep sockets in same 4 sizes that we just added. So we'll get those brought in at some point in time. What I want to do now is set that off to the side, and we're going to do this. I think you've seen this guy. Alright, this is currently how I've got our little Koken setup going for the quarter drive stuff. Why? It's because I had it and I didn't have enough Ernst pegs, and I haven't gotten to that point yet. So this was originally, I bought that to do Stavilla, and I don't have it in my heart to tear down the ones I have in the foam case, so that's kind of a state of flux, if you will. But I went back over to where I had the box on the workbenches over there, and sure enough, there was a bag sitting to the back of some brown paper right here. And what did it have? A 6-point quarter drive 4.5 millimeter socket. So Mike didn't do us dirty. He actually did us a favor by putting it in this bag, probably for the sole reason if it was wrapped up like he does the bigger sockets, you'd run a real good risk of losing it or having it roll off or something. And this is a deal probably when that stuff came in. I like to check, make sure everything's there. Plus there's something I really wanted to play with. More on that in the next video. But we got that. And I just had it sitting back there behind the box in this bag. So now that we've done that, we are only missing the 4.5 deep right there, and we'll have that thing totally complete. And then what I've done here, we're going to have to do some switcheroo. But I've got the 7 through 19. Again, this is the MTS friction peg prototype. Again, that's why they're special to me. And this metric one, like if you look at the green, they decided, you know, like the black looked the best with the white letters. And that's what you kind of see on this orange one for SAE, right? Sort of followed the suit that they did there. This one might be more rare because I'm guessing if these do ever see production, the orange colors, they'd probably go with what they have on the SAE because it mirrors what they did on the others. Don't hold me to that, but that's where this one could like be the super standout, right? And previously I had some 12-point sockets on it. I actually originally had the surface drives, some 12s, and then I changed that up when we got the US General. And so now basically those 12s got to go, and we got to put these 8 through 19 down there. So I'm going to go ahead. I guess I'll go off camera since the battery's running a little low, and I'll show you the end result. Before we finish this off, I do want to highlight this as something I appreciate. The way Koken does these and the way they line up on, of course these are 360, but like the Ernst pegs, you can get the numbers lining up on the outside the same. Absolutely love that. It's the little things. Whoever put these on the rail didn't have to do that. They did. Makes an impression to me. I would much rather see that than have the 18 facing this way, the 19 facing that way, 17 to the back, 16 front and visible. Little things. So kind of rip these off together, and we're going to throw them down. 18, and for your viewing pleasure from the other hand, 19. So obviously glaring weakness there. We need a 7 in both to finish the organizer. 7 I do use a little bit, not as much as an 8, but I guess it warrants getting picked up. And then right here though, we got everything in place. These are actually semi-deeps. We're probably going to pull those off, obviously, get the 6-point shallow when those come available. 6-point shallow sets are really stupid reasonable from Koken. You pay a little bit more for the deep. It's not like as egregious as a jump as with many manufacturers, but essentially the payoff here in the US General Master Tech, we've got this laid out. I do metric on the right and SAE on the left, but I've got these guys side by side. They fit perfectly in the drawer, and we're getting close to completing both. And then this little guy right here, also almost 100% done. So on that front, that was our haul from Koken and DRPD in this case. We got those sweet little pegs, which again, Astro rails, Olsa rails, the Koken rail, the US General rail, they all, and I'm gonna say this though, this was, since we got interrupted, this kind of threw my thought process for a loop. This claims it's made in Japan, right? And the rail, I think, is the same thing. I would assume Taiwan, you know, like for the Astro and the Olsa stuff. Don't hold me to that. Could be totally mistaken. I want to take Koken for their word too, but whoever is behind that, whether Taiwan, you know, someone like ripped them, maybe it's Chinese stuff. No respect for, you know, original design and patents there. All that stuff interchanges, which again works out in your favor. Case in point, if you've got the Koken Zeal stuff and it's just one socket from being perfect for you, you need a peg, you can buy it from them. Or if you wanted to, you could go to Harbor Freight, pick up one of the US Generals, you know, bring that in, rip one peg off, put it there, and then maybe order some in next time to kind of fill that out because you don't get near enough for an 18-inch rail. But yeah, very cool to have found a source for those. Again, if you're interested in that video, I went through the whole shebang, you know, everything that'll interchange there for you. I'll try to remember to link it or have it down in the comments or description box there. So on that front, it's night is still young. I'm gonna, before I go in and eat, I think I'm gonna try to get some actual work done here. And that's what I enjoy the most. That's why we buy tools, to use them. So anyway, that's that for this one. Big thanks to Mike for putting that little 4.5 any bag. Otherwise, it probably would have been a nightmare of a situation finding that thing. So yeah, your thoughts and opinions on any of this, feel free to leave it down below. Still want to know, again, if you love this style of holder and you want to see it in orange. They currently still don't make it. They sent these out to me, said, hey, let's see if you can get people behind it. If you want to see this come to production, you know, whether it's white, black on white, you know, whatever, something totally different. If you just want orange and you don't care how it's lined out, tell mechanics time savers. Send them an email, call them, hit them up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're at. If they're there, tell them, say, hey, you know, I saw that idiot in Texas, and he has those, you know, Koken sockets that he puts on your friction pegs deal, and he says the orange is prototype. I looked, I can't find it anywhere. I want to buy it. You got to make it. Tell them that's how we get things done. That's how it's like, oh, hey, you know, there's a pretty good demand for this. Maybe we should make it, and take it from there. But yeah, so far these have held up. Again, my fear with them is over time, like, you know, they might not grip as good. Haven't gotten to that point yet. There's a few that came that way where they don't like grip as good, but it kind of varies by socket, so I don't know how to attribute that. But anyway, the orange looks sweet, especially with an orange box. So whether orange is your favorite color, it matches your car, you're into Harleys, whatever it might be, if you want to see those, tell MTS. And on that front, nice little haul here. We got some 6-point deeps. 6-point deeps, I should say. We got 4.5 shallow. We got these completed. I don't know why I didn't think to buy a 7. Well, I guess they don't have the deep, that's why. And I was holding off on the shallow until I had the 7. Makes total sense. I know what I'm doing. Trust me. But, anyway, I'm going to quit rambling, go have some fun here in the shop. If you enjoyed the video, if you got any thoughts or opinions on this stuff, feel free to leave a comment, let the world know what you think, what your experiences have been. If you enjoyed the video, I encourage you to leave a like. If you like multiple things that we do here, if you're like, man, he was right on those things, interchanging, or, you know, oh, wow, you know, Koken has those things, this guy's a wealth of information, or, man, I hate this guy, and I just want to dislike all his videos, but I've got to have something to remind me to do it. Subscribe, and if you ring the bell, YouTube should notify you. New videos every Wednesday and Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Texas time. But on that front, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have yourself a fantastic weekend, and most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.